Remember when everybody used to start their influencer videos with, "Hey guys," and then other people would do their own like channel branded ones, like "What's up, unconventionals? It's time for another unconventional video about my unconventional life abroad," or whatever. But I thought I'd do a video today because I'm a little bit behind, not on my reading, but the way I set up. I've got some ideas for Garbaugust, the way I wanted to do things. Like I'm finishing up a couple of short series I want to read, and I wanted to talk about the series as a whole rather than just one or two of the books. But I'm kind of in the middle of everything. I haven't really finished any sort of segment of what I wanted to talk about, but I did. There are a couple of short books I could talk about here. This is by Larry Kent. It's called The Wierdos. This is an Australian private eye series. It started out as a radio drama set in Australia. When they decided to expand into a print series, they made the character American for some reason. There is massive number of these. This is actually, if you look on the file, I haven't got it here, it's actually Larry Kent number 799, which is a lot of Larry Kent's. And there's two writers. This one is by Don Haring. He's one of the two writers. He was originally an American himself, emigrated to Australia at some point and became one half of the writers of this series. They're about 100 pages long. The last one I read was called, I think it was the Night People. By no coincidence at all, I think I read like 6 or 7 of them last year. This is the last one I had. I bought it strictly because of the title, The Wierdos. This is the title. This is the cover it has now on the ebooks. Like I say, their novellas are about 100 pages long, each one. If you buy the print copies, they usually bundle 2 of the novels together in no particular order. Here's one. This looks like the original printing from Australia. You can get kind of an idea about what type of era we're in, the mid 60s. What I was happily surprised to find is this is a direct sequel to The Night People, The Underground People, where Larry Kent goes on a strange odyssey underneath New York City, finds about people who live down there with the alligators, makes a deal with them to help him solve a crime. The deal being he would not reveal the existence of the Night People, the Underground People. I keep saying that because I can't remember what they're called. I think they're called the Night People, but they live underground. Anyway, in this book, I guess this must be the heroine villainess of the book, I imagine. Couldn't just be a random blonde girl. It probably is. This is probably a better representation. He gets invited on a talk show. Larry Kent, the private eye, gets invited on a talk show. Don Haring writes the stranger installments of the series. Most of them are straightforward, hard-boiled. Don Haring's a little bit of he's plotting outside the box. Anyway, Larry Kent gets invited on a local talk show, a big talk show in New York City. Live, he thinks he's going to be talking about his cases and just being interviewed on general things, I think. But he gets confronted by the hostess of the show about the Night People. And who are they and where do they live and everything. And he walks off the show, and actually the show gets pulled off the air, something like that, because he's very angry that this woman ambushed him like this, this journalist ambushed him like this, and tried to get him to break his oath to talk about the Night People, who he's loyal to, because they live underground and they're creepy and they raise alligators and live with rats and stuff, but they're very, very decent people, and they help him solve crimes. He goes some stuff with the mayor. I can't really quite remember. She gets in big trouble with the network. She gets fired, but this is kind of the first preamble of the story, where she she leaves, goes to California, and decides, like any sensible or disgraced television journalist, who probably would in the real world would not be disgraced for doing this. They'd probably give her a big promotion and promote her. But she decides to start a cult, and it's a new age cult. Larry Kent follows her out there. It's a cult where she it's kind of timely, actually. She's kind of like a Ghislaine Maxwell type character, except just for herself. She well, it's not a sex cult, I guess, particularly, but she does attract these underage girls and tries to exploit their trauma and make them work for her. And so it's about the breaking of the cult and everything. It's really good. It's really fun 60s kind of era, 60s California insanity era, which makes me want to segue into my next book that I read. This is also a series that I'm reading. This is an 8-book series called Dr. Orient. I only saved this one cover. This is the 4th one, I think. I might have talked about this a little. This is also from the early 70s. This is Baron Orgaz by Frank Lauria, a Dr. Orient novel. There's paperback originals in the 70s. Frank Lauria is pretty solid, journeyman writer. If you look up his career, he wrote many novelizations, none of which come to mind at the moment. But anyway, and some other things. He wrote this book, 7-volume paperback series back in the era of when they were doing a lot of different kinds of. Have I got a different cover? They were doing lots of. This is. I would say this is probably more of a. This was probably an attempt to initially, it's like do kind of a. This is the era of the Executioner and all those kind of paperback original series, but this is more of an occult one. So it's an updating of the occult detectives of the 30s and 40s that people love so much. Although this is updated into the 60s and incorporating weird cults and stuff like that. Here's a lovely British adaptation of it, a British paperback original of it. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is I should put my glass on. This is an Italian one. Fantastic. Italians and horror. Nothing goes together better than the 1970s and horror and Italians. This one you can see at. If you're familiar with paperbacks of the time, this is definitely. The livery is definitely. Meant to evoke The Exorcist, the reincarnation of Peter Proud, that kind of thing. The hero is a sort of hipster, older hipster guy named Dr. Orient, who's a master of the occult arts, and he gathers, over the first couple of books, he gathers his team of regulars, have different things, astrologists and all kinds of things, and they battle evil. This one, Baron Orgaz, I don't remember the pyramids. This is the what you get. This is the current edition, Open Road or something like that, reissues. It's they're fun. They're a lot of fun. They're very trashy. They're very they're not sex books. There's no sex scenes or anything like that. Well, there kind of almost is in this one, I guess. But there's it's like tantric stuff in the background. Very sensational. So I think it fits perfectly with Garbaugust, and I wanted to really finish all the novels and then just do one on this series. But I needed something to talk about today because I need to get going on these videos. Plus the sunlight was not that bad. Figured out how to adjust the curtain here to get some decent sun at different times of the day. So I would recommend that. This one is shockingly, maybe not from the cover, but a little grimmer, a little darker than the earlier ones. This starts off like really a really grotesque, grim abduction, which may be inspired by the movie. I always want to call it Serpico, but it's not Serpico. The other Al Pacino movie where he's undercover trying to solve a murder in the gay S&M underground. What's that movie called? It doesn't matter. People know what I'm talking about. The Sidney Lumet movie. I'll put it in the comments. No one cares. It's kind of like the first opening is kind of like that. It's really seedy and it's really heavy going. So, and then it dips back into Dr. Orient, who is tasked by the mother of the victim of this terrible, like, weird cult sacrifice thing, or we don't know what's going on. Tries to help her out, and becomes more like the other books that I'd seen. They get into the depths of the cult. There's Nazi Satanists and all kinds of bad stuff. So it's an enjoyable read. I think I might have liked some of the others better, but this seems like a turn for darker. If anybody's also read this series, let me know if I got that wrong, because I read the first 3 at least 2 years ago. Okay, so I could talk about what I'm gonna do a little more. I'm finishing up a series of 6 of, I guess it's a 4-book series that I will talk about next. I'm gonna finish reading that today, I think, and I'll put it up another day. Then I've got another series of books, 2 series of books, short series, that I'm gonna watch some movies with, and maybe hopefully talk about, like, the movie and the novelization together. So that's what I'm planning on doing for Garbaugust. I bought a ton of books, a ton of ebooks this month. I got sapped into the, use your $3 credit before this day, and you'll get this many points on this book, and you get another $3 credit. I think I spent like $80, which is nothing to most people I know. $80 is a lot for ebooks. It just is, guys. Let's see what I've got coming up, if there's anything I want to talk about. Is there anything else I'm going to do besides Garbaugust this month? I don't think so. I think it's going to be all garbage. I've got so much garbage to read, and it's all good. Some of it's, better garbage than others. I think Baron Orgaz, the one I just talked about, and the Wierdos definitely qualify as garbage. The other stuff is like semi-classic garbage. But we'll see how it goes. And I'll try and get these evenly spread out through the week, and stop talking so vaguely about my plans, because it's shaping up for me to be a Garbaugust. So if you have a mind, let me know what you're reading for Garbaugust, if you're interested in the event or not. It's always fun to hear about people doing these events. It does kind of shape my reading sometimes. I really like to, once I lock into an event, I really like to do a lot. Next month I'm going to do, it's Sumerian September, so I'm going to do that. I don't remember which Howard character Michael K. Vaughan picked for Sumerian September. I think it's Bran McMorn, maybe. I don't know, but I have all the Del Rey ebooks, so I'm ready to go on that. I will read that. I'm going to do Shake Timber. I have some stuff picked out for Shakespeare in September, a couple nonfiction books. As I said on Kelly's channel, I can't read. I've got my full-size Kindle, but which is this, and I've got what I mostly read on, which is my Books Palma, which is this. But neither one is for me, and I know you can turn them the other way. I just do not enjoy reading plays or poetry on them at all, because it scrunches the lines. In poetry especially, I like to see the shape of the poem if I start to read it, although I'm kind of out of the mood of reading poetry the last few years. It's just stopped doing it for me for some reason. And plays, the text just looks all crowded together. It's just not a pleasant reading experience. I think these things are designed for, I think most people read prose on them, it's fine with like normal paragraphs that you can resize and that kind of thing. But for something where the at least for me, the placement on the page is more important. or at least it's always seemed like that to me. Even in plays, because you get a sense of the rhythm of what's going to happen in a scene, whether it's a Neil Simon play or I used to read tons of plays when I was young. Anything. Modern plays, like they used to print them all the time, Neil Simon, things like that, or all the Greek plays. I read all the Greek poets except for Aeschylus. Except for Aristophanes, the one humorous poet. I don't know why. I think I've just got to the end. I read Aeschylus, Euripides, and Sophocles, and I think I was just getting maybe burned out on the form or something before I got to the one comedian, the one comic writer, who we have complete plays of. But I don't know how I got off on all that. No Greek tragedies belong in Garbaugust. They belong in any other August. So that's it. I'll wrap up, and we'll catch you next time.